Hello there, good sirs and madams. Welcome back to the Ring City. And it's been a while. I know you're going to be thinking, Jack, where are the demon princes? I don't know. I beat them. The footage isn't around anymore. I don't know why. Well, I suspect I misplaced it somewhere. So, I'll upload some footage of them if I have some time to go back and play them again. But at the moment, I've just lost the footage. That's kind of annoying, I know. But I just want to start off really quick here and say, look at this room. Does anyone else recognize this room? It's Firelink Shrine, where Frampt came out of. Yeah, so that's just a nice reference in there. I'll talk a bit more about the boss fight in a second when I get a chance, but, I'm just saying, I had to walk outside and recheck just to make sure I didn't miss something obvious. But yeah, so now we're going to be entering the Ring City proper, if you know what I'm talking about. We need the banner. The banner thing. I love that intro to the Ring City. It feels so much like it's going to do an Anor Londo sort of styled, grandiose theme, and it just does that little, there's almost a sinister little tone to it. And it works for the DLC. I'm just saying. I love the intro to it so much. So I'll quickly, before we walk down this bridge, or we're going to start walking down this bridge, but I want to quickly talk about the Demon Prince boss. It's a great boss in my opinion, 9 out of 10, and that's all I want to say to it. I don't want to spoil too much now that I don't have the footage anymore, so I won't spoil too much for you guys. But yeah, this bridge area is tough. For the first couple of tries, I didn't realise what I was supposed to be doing. I got the whole stealth bit, I was supposed to be dodging them, but I didn't realise quite how many there were until yeah. I don't know if you could tell quite how scared I was when he summoned that Silver Knight on top of me with the giant hammer. I wet myself, as you can see. I threw myself off the edge, and you can probably tell from that little roll that I do just halfway through my death that I tried so desperately to stop myself from dying. No, I didn't realise the Judicator was gonna summon another one to me, you know. I thought it was just gonna be archers. I was so upset. So upon making it back up here, I proceeded to get my souls and just get out of that Silver Knight's range. So I ran straight downstairs and ran into this guy.
Many of us are by the fire, forsaken. I speak of thine kind and mine. Behold this city. We are kindred, but like two eyes which gaze upon the other. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin. One was a wayfaring knight on an endless, forbidden search. Only the abyss granted closure, if not reunion with his beloved. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin.
10 points to whoever guesses who he's talking about. It's Alva. Alva the Wayfarer, or Seeker of the Spurned in Dark Souls 3's case. Presumably Zully was his beloved in the Abyss. It makes sense in a way. She was supposed to be a witch, wasn't she? And I tend to associate witches with Witch Beatrice, who was, you know, the one who went into the Abyss in Dark Souls 1. I just thought that was interesting, the way he talks about let the feast begin. You'll see in a minute, or when we get to the swamp area, because they all eat these dark crystal things later on, and they look very similar to the dark gems, so I assume they're eating the dark, these weird locust people. Just some speculation here, but given their red-hooded robes and the use of miracles, I tend to associate these guys as slave knights, or at least slaves, like Gale was. Don't they look a little similar? The way they use miracles, Gale uses Way of White Corona. I just thought that was a little bit of interesting speculation right there. These guys must be the slaves, and perhaps Gale is from the Ring City in some way.
fancy meeting you here. A true blessing that we should seek the same place and find ourselves standing here together. I've got the last of my brew. Let's have our own little toast with it. To my search, and to your duty, and to the joy that lies before us. All right then. Bottoms up. Now, once I find it, everything will come back to me. Who I was, what I lived for, what my name was, and what terrible grudges I held. I don't know. I just have this feeling that that's the kind of man I was. Oh, don't hold it against me. I only think I was. Now,
I will be showing you how to finish off Lap's questline in this playthrough. I didn't look up a guide myself, I found it completely by accident, just by exploring. And to be honest, I really like Lap's quest. It works quite well for his character. At point of recording, I have finished the DLC, and let me just tell you, there's some really good moments in this DLC, the final boss being the pinnacle. Up ahead is the first encounter with the Ringed Knights, and to be honest, they're one of my favourite enemies in anything. The way they extend their blades, that just mimics the Soul of Cinder perfectly, in my opinion, is just whoa. And that's one of the moments when I knew that this DLC was going to be a good one. So aside from me trying to swap rings in the start of that combat, and from just, slowly backing away the entire time and playing generally all round poorly, I think that's a pretty good fight. And to be honest, there are better ones to come. these cleric enemies with weird direct attack that just seems to do a large amount of damage to you very quickly, they're quite good in this environment, especially the enclosed one, for keeping you on your toes and keeping you moving, actually. And if you can't find them, just drop down onto that lantern hanging from the ceiling and jump across, and you'll find the next one, as I try and fail to do here a couple of times. Up ahead is Shira, one of the more interesting NPCs in this DLC, and to be honest I think it's kind of curious that I feel like she's been here since forever, you know, she's been in service for a very long time, she must be a very old undead, and I feel like there's a little bit more to learn from her than I managed to get out of her in this DLC, because she stopped talking to me at one point.
Speak thee the name of God, thine own God, if thou canst recall.
Yeah, we all remember my worst nightmare. It happened again. That gave me a heart attack when it happened. I didn't realise that the Herald Knight was so close. I didn't even really hear him coming. I thought it was somewhere on a ledge above me that was just, you know, patrolling around. I really regretted that.
Speak thee thine own God. Ah, then thou'st not forgotten. Perhaps 'tis why we may converse. They who are ken to God's name are surely ken to the terrors of the dark. Please, I bid thee take not from the princess her peace. As the fire waneth, does she lie by the dark, all for the sake.
So, for the bit I skipped over there, she says that she is Shira, and she's servant of Princess Filianore, matriarch of the church. And she says something really interesting. Filianore lies asleep for the sake of man, and I wonder why that is. When we get to the DLC, it'll make a little bit more sense, I think. But for now, it just seems kind of mysterious. You wonder why she's asleep and why it's for the sake of man.
Thou'st a kind to speak to a captive such as I. It is no surprise thou rememberest our God. May I ask thee a kindness? Perhaps thou'st beheld the lone dragon that inhabiteth this city. Medir is his name, and the arch-dragons are his forebears. He once railed against the dark, but was by dark afflicted. Now here, returned, he remaineth, to watch over the sleeping princess, true to the old accord. And yet, I would have thee put the dragon to rest, before the dark consumeth him, and his vows are forgot. I offer my sincerest gratitude, thou who art ken to God's name. Please, take this. I have asked a thing most terrible of thee. May this token of thanks be of aid. I beg of thee, before the dark.
We will be meeting Dark Eater Medir before long. He's a boss I haven't finished yet, and I do intend to finish him at some point. I had a few goes at him. He seems quite tough. His health bar is gigantic, as I would have expected out of a dragon, but I'd say he's probably the second best dragon in the entire series, considering I hated Sin and virtually every other dragon except Calamite. After this Ring Knight encounter, we get invaded by an NPC, and I think it's so appropriate. We meet him after the dialogue of the White Preacher Locust, and what he's guarding. Sure we all recognise the Black Witches set as Zully's set, or Canon Zully's set from Dark Souls 2. So I suppose the two of them are reunited at last in some way? I hope to see you guys in the next episode.